All right, what's up, y'all? Just finished watching UFC 292. I didn't watch all of it, but whatever. UFC 292 just ended. Sugar Sean beat Aljo. Whaley dominated. Um, I don't really have a whole lot to say on that, so I'm just gonna go into what I wanted to make this video about. In this video, I'm gonna talk about like the science of a knockout. So people that know me know that I'm big on training light and sparring light. You don't need to be hitting as hard as you can possibly hit when you are practicing. And to be honest, you don't need to be doing it a lot in the actual fight. We'll get into that. Okay, so I've had these beliefs for a while, but I guess as I've kind of branched out and been doing my own thing and using more online resources and finding ways to interact with like the top echelon of people, whether it's buying their tutorials or just studying videos in the background or sending messages to like people in the UFC and having conversations, I found truth in a lot of what I was believing. So now I'm a lot more confident in it. So us as human beings, when we're talking knockouts, it's not hard for us to be knocked unconscious, and it's all in our brain. And I don't think science has it perfectly figured out. And that's evident as in just within my lifetime, we seem to have discovered CTE, and then due to money, there was a big delay in making advancements in it because people didn't want it to happen, I guess, for money. I don't know, whatever. But so the knockout, I think a lot of times in fighting, we have this conception that we have to hit someone in the head as hard as we can to get knocked out. But like examples of things that kind of struck my attention when I started thinking about these knockouts, because the first couple of times I kind of clipped somebody, I didn't really know I was clipping them or what I was doing. It happened, and I visually saw the effects in them, and I was like, man, if I was hitting them hard, this was going to be bad, So I was like, I'm going to accidentally do this. So I started talking about how I'm going to accidentally rock people way before I ever heard anyone else say it. And then I go on to find like UFC fighters talk about it happens all the time when they're not going, and it's accuracy and timing. But the knockout is in the brain. So when the brain gets bounced around, that's kind of when we get knocked out, like the sudden shift. It's not just this blunt trauma force power. Like, I don't quite know how to explain it, but something that I've seen, or I didn't witness it in person, but maybe in your own life you can think of something like this. But a person's like walking this way, like they're walking towards you, then all of a sudden they turn this way, and there was something there that they didn't expect, like a solid object, like a shelf or a door or something, and they hit it and they drop unconscious and they're knocked out. If it's something relatable you can think of. I'm not saying that happens all the time, but that's something I realized that can happen, and I started thinking about it with the knockout, and I'm like, well, there's no power coming from that door. That inanimate object's literally not moving. The only momentum is actually that person moving into them. And it's the sudden stop, the whiplash that's happening at the back of your head that created the knockout. Okay, so, man, I always get to talking and then I quit doing what I'm supposed to be doing. All right, so with that said, if we take in and we believe and we understand that the knockout is from the whiplash, not like a crushing blow to your skull right here or something, it's from needing the brain to bounce, then the quickest way to bounce it is going to be from the farthest point. So we think about our skull and we got our brain literally up inside of here. The farthest point is down on the chin. And the way to create whiplash is to spin it. Or not to spin it, to rotate it. Like it's going to turn this way really quickly. And I don't have a great example, so I'm going to have to use a jalapeno, guys. This is what I was making. But all right, So if this is someone's, man, I should have thought this through. If this is someone's head and I hit them, I don't want their head to go and roll that. I don't want to hit it, go and their head's result rolls that way. When I hit them to knock them out, I want to hit them. I should have got a basketball or something to demonstrate this, like this, to where their head would do that, as compared to fly just that way. That spin is what creates the sudden bounce, because we're using momentum in science. And creating that spin does not take a lot of power at all. You really can do this accidentally to people. And I found myself, I didn't really do it on purpose. It just kind of, a lot of things I'll talk about happen unconsciously in fighting. But instead of even striking to where my fist is connecting like this, we're going light. So I feel safe doing it. But really there's strikes where it's like this, and it's a whip right there, and you catch it right there. And I've seen someone like Ricky Hatton. I've seen Ricky Hatton do this. Never had the conversation with Ricky to know if it's what he's intentionally planned out, but I've seen it, and I found myself doing it a lot. And I've done this sometimes I've needed to test this. So in some of my other videos, y'all hear me complain about people going hard. Well, if someone keeps going hard with me, I'm going to go hard back, and then I don't feel guilty about testing theories of what I want to do. Like, they're bringing the escalated fight to me at practice. After 2 or 3 times of me showing that I didn't want that, if they keep on, then okay, it's fair game. So I've literally gone up to people. I can only say I've done this twice, though, to 2 people. I've gotten on the inside, and about 6 times real quick. I mean, that's about the span of a second when it really happens. And then push them, and they fall over. And to me, that's a flash. It was like a flash knockout. And dang it, that's a whole nother video too. When we talk about getting rocked or clipped or knocked out, flash knocked out, we don't have enough clear communication in this yet to fully even talk about it. Because just in 5 years of doing this, I couldn't have told you, I know someone gets rocked or someone gets knocked out, and like knocked out, they're completely unconscious, and rocked, it's like they got hit really hard, but I didn't quite know what it means. Listen, a flash knockout, I've gotten hit and the punch went like this, and I'm flash knocked out. Like, I heard myself, I go, whew, like make a sound. I'm looking at the glove. I can't move anything except for my eyes. I don't even know if I could have moved my eyes. And this all happens in the span of like 2 seconds. My partner realizes something's wrong. He pulls his hand back. When he does, his glove pulls my head back, and I hear him say, "Are you okay?" I don't know if I was able to answer him or not, but I feel like I was like, need a second, or gave something. Because I kind of felt maybe a pat on my shoulder or something, or kind of holding me up. And then I did end up getting the words out within like 3 seconds. "I'm okay, but I need a second." I remember saying that. And I felt fine, but I felt kind of woozy. So what all that had occurred in that 3 seconds was I couldn't move anything except for my eyes. Then all of a sudden I could move my arms, like my hand. I felt my hands being able to move. And I went to walk. I went to take a step, and I couldn't. My legs were like Jello. And I like started to stumble. And as soon as I did, I kind of got my bearings. But I went to my knees. Like I had enough whereabouts that I was like, don't fall flat on your face and break your nose. So I went to my knees. I kind of go to my hands and kind of got in like a turtle position till I felt like I could stand up and stuff, which was only about 30 seconds. And then my goofy ass, my coach was like, "You need to go sit down. You need to sit down." And I was like, "We're going to finish this round. We're just not going to throw punches." And we stood there and stared at each other for like 10 seconds. That was the first time, but that is a flash knockout. As compared to being like rocked, man, I've been hit hard, but it wasn't like on the chin, on the button, like the flash knockout was. And it's like the vision's gone for a second and you're startled for a second, but I never lost capability in any limb or body. I don't know if that's what other people are calling rocked, but that's what I'm calling rocked. And then the flash knockout is like a brief, even though I gave that many words and description of it, that flash knockout was like, man, 3 seconds. That all occurred in 3 seconds. Me getting hit, his hand back, are you okay? Me down on the ground, 3 seconds. Like, it was quick. And then obviously you have the knockout where they're completely unconscious and everything. Then you got like getting clipped, in my opinion. It's on the button similar to the flash knockout. But I can't relate to this because it hasn't occurred to me yet. And hopefully it never does. I don't encourage these things happening, but they can happen on accident. In my opinion, getting clipped is like I'm watching a UFC fight and they're moving. You know, like they're moving, cutting an angle, and they get clipped and they drop. They immediately drop, but they immediately jump back up. And the difference to me in calling it the flash knockout is because I feel like I don't know if they really ever go unconscious in any way, but it's like they lose all their abilities for less than 3 seconds. It's like literally just bam, they're off and they're back on. And that's what I call getting clipped. Where the flash knockout, it takes time for it to come back, and I've observed this from when I've accidentally done it to other people. It's like you're kind of zombified. Like literally I've seen people like kind of stand like this, and then their head comes back to them, and then their arms come back to them, then their legs. It's like they gain everything from the top back down and ability to move again. Man, I kind of went everywhere. I don't like making these over 10 minutes, and I just hit 12 minutes. So kind of recap everything. To get a knockout, it doesn't take a lot of power. It takes the spin of the head to create the whiplash in the brain, which kind of said it right there. In my head is like trying to spin with the chin. The farthest angle away from where you want to hit, the farthest point is going to be the easiest way to move that point. So the chin's the farthest thing. You spin it. And then there's different types and levels of knockouts too. So we went over a couple of those. Flash knockout, which would be like you lose all your abilities and slowly gain it back from the top down, slowly, only being about 3 to 5 seconds probably. Getting clipped is like you lose all your abilities in your legs and you're down, but then it comes back really quick. Getting rocked is kind of just getting hit hard, and you don't even lose your footing. It's just kind of like you sort of blink black for a second and then get knocked out. You get knocked out completely unconscious. But that's Concepts with Kimbler. Until next time.